Yo, what's good, YouTube? Today I got y'all a brand new top 5 meta loadouts. If you guys enjoyed the video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, so for our first gun here today, we're gonna be taking a look at the Krig C, probably your #1 meta AR in all of Warzone. This thing's an absolute heater. Can build it out probably a few different ways. I'll show you guys a couple of ways, but let's get into it. First thing, optic section. You can kind of, relatively speaking, use whatever optic you want. I like to go for like either the Merlin Mini or this Volziski Reflex. This is kind of like my go-to. I really actually enjoy running both of those. So you guys can go for pretty much either or you can go down here and run something like maybe even the Kepler Red Dot, or go down here even farther and run something up to a 3x, the Willis 3x, the Jason Armory 2X. I wouldn't go any more magnification than a 3x. That's not going to be beneficial. So basically just stay relatively from the 3x on, up here, and you'll be good to go. So for this build, I'm gonna go ahead and choose the Volziski, as this is my go-to. Muzzle section, two options in here. You can go for the compensator, which is going to be great for a lot of those people that need a little bit more help in the recoil control department. The Krig does have some recoil, so you do have to kind of compensate for it. So the compensator does help you out. Otherwise, the mono suppressor is a great option. You really don't notice that it slows you down a whole lot. You just notice that you get a little bit extra damage range, which is quite nice. And of course, it keeps you off the radar. So if you guys are okay with having a little bit extra recoil because you can, deal with that, then go for the mono. Otherwise, just go for the compensator. Barrel section, we're gonna go throw on that gain twist. This is definitely the best thing in here to run. Pushes you out to 1162 meters a second. You want to definitely stay over 1,000. For an AR, that is pretty crucial. Also, your damage at effective range, 44.4 meters, perfectly fine, very acceptable. Even down here, like the reinforced barrel, if you're running, let's say, a bit of a different setup, maybe you're running the overpressured rounds or something like that, and you were running iron sights, then this would be something maybe to go for. But overall, I'd say just for the large majority of people, go for the gain twist. Under barrel, you want to go down here and throw on the vertical foregrip, pretty standard on all ARs. And lastly, in the magazine section, we're go for extended mag 2, which gives us 70 rounds in the mag. Super awesome, really nice. No complaints there. It's really cool to be able to have 70 rounds in an extended clip and not have it be like extended mag 3, unlike it is on some other guns. So extended mag 2 does exactly what it should. So this right here is your full build, and like I said, you can switch out the muzzle, go down here, throw on the suppressor, and you can run it exactly like that too. Next up, I feel like I got to give you guys a build here for the Ladra. I mean, listen, if you're not using the Ladra or the C9 or something like that, you're kind of doing it wrong in Warzone right now. Actually, I shouldn't say you're doing it wrong. You're just not using the top meta SMGs. A lot of other stuff is really good and competitive, but overall, these are going to be like your best ones. So first thing, we go for the barrel. We just throw on the long barrel to increase our overall damage range. It makes sense, right? Like, this is what you should be running. Under barrel section, we're to go throw on the Ranger foregrip. I always go for the Ranger. Horizontal recoil control and sprinting movement speed, all great things to be able to have. It does make all the difference in the world to be able to have a little bit extra sprinting movement speed when you're trying to escape some of these gunfights. And the TTK is unbelievably quick in Warzone right now, or it has been basically since about, what, season 3. So it does help to be able to get away sometimes. Not very often, but it can help in situations. Magazine, we're gonna go through an extended mag 2 here. I've basically been a big proponent of extended mag 2 here for a while now. I have ran extended mag 1. I mean, listen, you can run extended mag 1. You still get 55 rounds, so that's perfectly fine, especially if you're playing solos. Run extended mag 1 and make yourself a little bit faster. But overall, extended mag 2, for the mass majority of us out here that are playing either duos, trios, or quads, you're going to want to run extended mag 2. Now for the rear grip section, we're throwing that beautiful ergonomic dive to fire, slide to fire, aim down sight speed, and jumping aim down sight speed. So this is kind of like your movement based, rear grip attachment. Slide to fire, that's absolutely huge. That's a very, very crucial metric for these SMGs in this game. It makes a large difference, to be honest with you. You'll notice when you have a bad slide to fire, when you're trying to move around and you can't pull your gun up in time, it does make you feel like you're a bit cumbersome, and we don't like that. So we want to make sure that we're like feeling very fluid and can get our gun up and get into those gunfights and get out as fast as possible by having a good TTK SMG, right? So stock section for the last thing, I throw in the balance stock here. I really don't have a lot of in-game time with the infiltrator, primarily because I didn't like it. I was not a big fan. I like the balance stock. I feel like sometimes the infiltrator can give you a little bit too much aim walking movement speed, and then your iron sight likes to maybe jiggle a little bit, or it's just harder to keep the aim assist on somebody. It just gets harder to actually aim when people are moving around, you're moving around, like it's a little bit harder to compensate. And so I really don't feel like I need anything more than the balance stock. And I feel a lot of people out there probably are going to be in the same boat as me. You don't really need a whole lot more, and having all the rest of these pros here are really nice. So go ahead and slap that on there, and that's going to be your full build. Next up in the third slot, I'll give you guys a build here for the HDR. This is still essentially your #1 sniper rifle in the entire game. You can use other snipers like the Kar 98 for Rebirth. You can use the Frost line. You can use the FJX Imperium. There's a bunch of other really good ones, but like in terms of like top meta, infinite damage range, you know, be able to down somebody, it is the HDR. So we'll give you guys the build here for it. First thing, we're gonna throw on the mono suppressor. Also, I like to point this out, mine's not totally maxed out. So if you guys are only level 25 or somewhere around there, you'll be perfectly fine to have the exact build I do. I don't really ever take into account basically people not having something maxed out when I build these guns out, essentially because there's only like 1 or 2 ways to really build them, and it's not like there's 5 million attachments. It's pretty standard. So you either got like 1 or 2 barrels, you got a couple attachments here. BO6 guns, they simplified it. It's not like the MW3, MW2 guns. So mono suppressor is the go-to. Barrel, we got to throw in the gain twist. You don't need any of this other stuff down here. Gain twist, increase in bullet velocity. As you guys know, one shot headshot, basically like infinite damage range on that one. And everything else basically is going to be at maximum, no matter where you hit them, a 2-shot. So you'll never get more than a 2-shot when you shoot somebody, but you can get that 1-shot headshot out to like a ridiculous across the map distance. Like it's nuts. After that, underbarrel, we're gonna go down here and throw on the lightweight bipod. It just helps your aiming idle sway. Makes it so that like when you're aiming down sights, right? Like you don't have all this sway going on your sight. It makes it a little bit easier to stay on target and have a little bit less sway when you're ADSing. So we like that. Now we're gonna go back here to basically the stock section, and we're going to use the heavy stock. And I will say the heavy stock gives you basically, I think, relatively about the same flinch resistance here as the combat stock. Actually, I take that back. It gives you more flinch resistance. So because they nerfed the overall flinch resistance, that was one of the things they did. They made the ADS speed a little bit slower, nerfed the flinch on it. So if you want to feel a little bit more pre-patch, then you want to run the heavy stock in that regard, though the combat does give you some ADS speed, stuff like that. So kind of big between the combat or the heavy. I personally don't snipe a whole lot, so for whenever I'm using it, the heavy stock works out great for me, and I don't really have any complaints, so go for that. Lastly, in the fire mods, because we're not really caring about our damage range, you just want the bullet velocity to be crazy. We're gonna go for the 108mm overpressure rounds, which gives you a nice little 15% increase. Makes it so that your sniper is gonna be perfectly fine. You can see your damage at effective range is fine. Everything here is going to be awesome sauce, and you guys will be fully taken care of. So run that on there, and this build right here is your full build. Now a build here for the C9. This is one of my go-to SMGs. It's like, I'm not running the C9, I'm running the Ladra, maybe the SOG. The PPSH, not so much, just because there's a couple things on there I'm not the biggest fan of, the way you have to build it. So overall, this right here, like, top meta, like you're not going to go wrong with either of the SMGs I show you. So first thing, barrel, we throw the long barrel here, pretty standard, don't need to go for anything else. Under barrel, we're going to build this out pretty similarly to the Ladra. You run the Ranger foregrip here, horizontal recoil, sprinting movement speed, all great stuff. Magazine, this is one of those times where I'd recommend not to go for extended mag 1 kind of regardless, and just go for extended mag 2. I think this works out just significantly better in pretty much all scenarios. You would much rather incur those cons than to have 10 less rounds in the mag. It just makes a lot of sense. Also down here, for those guys that are wondering about the 10mm auto 30, this is not making much of a difference in your TTK, like at all. It is negligible at best. Like you really can't tell. So if you can't tell in game, it doesn't matter what the stats say, because you're gonna have only 30 rounds in the mag. It doesn't kill really any faster, so why would I use a 30-round mag when I can use a 50 and have basically the same TTK? Like, it's not going to make a difference. Trust me on this one. Like, I'd be using this if it made all the difference in the world. That's what I'd be rocking, but it doesn't. So we're going to go for this. Rear grip section, ergonomic here once again. You guys don't really need anything else. I sometimes see people run the commando, and I'll kind of give you guys a bit of a different build here, considering I know a lot of people like to run this on Verdansk, not as much just like Rebirth. So I'll show you guys that in a sec. And then lastly, we're gonna go for the balance stock. This is another SMG where I feel the balance is really good, though the infiltrator can be very nice as well. This is not like You know, the ladder, I feel very particular about the stock. It's just kind of up in the air. If you're on the infiltrator, you can technically run the no stock, run whatever is comfortable for you. Just go for the balance stock too. The only thing I'd say to stay away from is the heavy and the combat. Not worth it. Doesn't really do anything for you. That's going to be, you know, beneficial. So I'm going to go for this, and this can be your full build right here if you want a bit more movement. But otherwise, you can take both of these off. Let's say throw on the commando for more of that ADS speed, because you're not going to be sprinting around as much, and throw on, let's say, a compensator. This will be a better at range build. Last but not least, one of the top long range options in the game right now, the SWAT 556, aka the Grau. So fire mods here. First thing is first, we're gonna go through on the Grau conversion. I don't think anyone uses the actual SWAT itself in game. They use the Grau. So we're just gonna call this thing the Grau from now on. So it's just the Grau, and that's the first thing in there. You have to run that. So after that, we're gonna go here to the muzzle section and throw on the mono suppressor. One real cool thing about this gun is that it's one of the only guns you can run a suppressor on long range and feel like you're not missing out on some type of recoil control benefit. Also, if you start to run the compensator, you do start missing out on crucial damage range, which is not good. So we basically have to run the mono suppressor. So go ahead and slap that on there, and you guys will be taken care of. After that, on a barrel, we're gonna throw on the vertical foregrip here, pretty standard. So go and slap on the vertical. Pretty easy to do. Magazine, we go for the full auto extended mag, since this is the only option in here. Can't choose any of these other things, so go for this. And then in the rear grip section, between that and the stock, you can kind of do, relatively speaking, whatever you want. I mean, actually, legitimately speaking, you could go throw on an optic if you really wanted to. I think the Grau iron sights are incredible, so there's not really much of a reason for that. So you can basically go throw on the commando grip here. This is really solid. I like to run this quite a bit. I also see some people running the quick draw grip, so that's another option as well. So between the commando and the quick draw, so this right here, let's say it can be your full build, or you can go on and throw on the quick draw grip. That could be your full build, or you can take that off, go for the stock. And there's something in here, I think it's the combat stock. Yeah, the combat stock, which helps your overall flinch resistance and gives you a little bit of aim locking movement speed. I think this is all right. Not the biggest fan of it, just because I want my iron sights to stay very steady. I feel like I said, at a certain point, you get too much aim locking movement speed to where your iron sights kind of jiggle up and down a little bit. Not the biggest fan of that, so I like to just go for having a bit of a faster ADS, and that is what I get with the commando grip. So that's your full build. That's my top 5. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.